Welcome back to the Kildrummy CostCast. In today's session, we're going to be looking at possibly the most important aspect of cost management, that of reporting and delivering reports that really matter to our projects. First of all, we'll look at, what truly makes a valuable report? A report that can be adding benefit to the project as opposed to another superfluous piece of information that really doesn't get utilized. In addition, we'll look at some of the challenges of creating those valuable reports and indeed how we ensure that on an ongoing basis those reports are still adding value for our project. Finally, we'll look at some suggested solutions in how we address those challenges in order that we can enhance our projects and deliver reports that really matter. In my previous life, when I worked in the project controls environment for more than 15 years, I often came across several challenges at the outset of a project when we were discussing, either as part of the project execution plan or the project delivery plan, what the reports were going to look like. And some of the challenges that you see and some of the questions that you see on screen here may be typical to some of the things you possibly have heard from other stakeholders on your projects. But one of the key things that I've always believed is that if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get the same outcome with what we've always got. So we should always revisit those things. We should revisit the report pack, look at the things that we're producing and ensure that they are actually adding value and not just repeating because we've always done it this way, or this report has always been issued because it was always been asked for previously. That's not necessarily the most beneficial way for us moving forward for our new project. So before we get down into the details of both the challenges and the solutions, what actually makes a valuable report for my project? Well, there's several key aspects in my opinion, and those are, some of them are, we have to balance up the effort in the production versus the value in the usage of the report. So if we're spending the vast majority of our time creating it and not actually using it for analysis, that's a problem. In addition, we should practice what I call the 4 W's. So who's going to be the consumer? What is my desired outcome of this report? What should be the format and the content of that report, and how often should that be delivered? So that is my 4 W's. In addition to that, we need to be able to very rapidly ensure that the message we're trying to convey is understood in that report and it's produced at the times it needs to be produced in order that the users can gain maximum value rather than just reporting right at the end of the month and when we have a limited impact on what we can do. So in a CapEx project, typically the report cycle may be a month, but in a turnaround and shutdown, it may be daily. So clearly we need to do interval reporting in order that decisions can be made before we reach a final report. And the key metric that really does prove whether this report is valuable, well, actually it gets used. It's not just filed away in the cabinet and forgotten about. It really is used to make better decisions. So having understood what makes a really valuable report and something that's going to be usable on my project, let's look at some of the initial challenges in order to deliver those things. Well, clearly on the global projects that we're looking at now, with the size and complexity of the projects that we're looking at, we need to understand that there are going to be multiple stakeholders and consumers, different people, different entities that are going to want to look at this report. And that will range from our client through to our corporation, the company that we work for and the board of directors, through to investors, and indeed, in my opinion, most importantly, the project itself. So interdepartmental communication within the project, communication with our supply chain, and indeed the construction in the field, etc. So some different entities with different requirements. Furthermore to that, we then need to look at the fact that, well, on global projects, and perhaps your project isn't necessarily global, but it may well have a multi-currency element to it. So we need to look at, is currency part of the gain and loss of that? Is that part of the project cost? Do we need to factor that in? So currency as well can be another key area that we need to understand when we think about reporting in our base currency, reporting in native currency, etc. So having looked at and understood the initial challenges of effective reporting, we now want to look at some of the ongoing challenges in continuing to be successful with our reports throughout the life cycle of the project. One of the key elements of that success is credibility, delivering consistent reports that are used and trusted. If we don't have users that are using those reports and trusting the data, that will delay decisions. Delayed decisions will cost money. So we need to ensure that the reports are believed, used, trusted and understood so that those decisions can be made faster, in a more informed way and more effectively so that we can continue to progress the project. So now let's look at improved communication. Well, a report and an effective report can be an excellent vehicle for engendering that discussion, discussing a problem, trying to find the best way to fix that problem, and removing the assumption culture and replacing that with one of certainty. And that certainty can be driven by effective reports. We can then share those reports, share those findings, share those decisions across the different entities that we discussed before. And that brings us to enhanced communication, where we can start to think about, based on the reports we've generated, how can we do things differently? Can we do things in a more effective manner, in a way that will improve productivity, improve effectiveness, and indeed drive down cost? One of the key drivers of what we're trying to do as cost managers on our projects. So having looked at some of the challenges that we face in order to deliver valuable reports, I'd now like to talk to you about a suggested solution using Kildrummy Cost Management to address those challenges. So first of all, I need a report that's going to improve how I deliver my work, something that's going to help me in my day-to-day, not hinder me. I need something that I can rely on and I can believe in order that when I publish that information it can be used and consumed by the users. And finally, I need to be able to produce those reports quickly, but also be able to have them consumed and understood in a very rapid manner in order that effective decisions can be made faster. Quickest way to create value for a user is to give them information fast. Here we look at dashboards that identify key issues, and we can start to manage by exception, manage by issue. Moving forward from there, ways in which we slice and dice the data, looking at multiple structures, creating new filters, saving those reports, and consistently being able to reproduce those reports on a one-click basis, even directly from my favorite reports on my dashboard. Again, fit for purpose needs to be different types of reports will be used by different stakeholders. We looked at many different stakeholders early on in the presentation. Some will want to look at the detail, perhaps from a drill down report. Others may want to move right the way forward to a high-level overview, potentially from an overview dashboard, or maybe something in between, which is more of a phased report like an S-curve we have here that shows commitments that could be shared with the finance department, for example. All of that information is not only coming just from one system, we're integrating that information with other source systems like your planning system, like your ERP system, and your timesheeting systems, etc. Lots of different information coming from disparate sources that is now aligned in a manner that is a connected environment that we call the Kildrummy Cost Management solution. So having looked at the complex challenges that we face in order to deliver valuable reports and how we would address that using a professional solution such as Kildrummy Cost Management, hopefully now you can see that the way in which we can truly bring value to the project via reports can be achieved, and maybe now's the time for your project to take the opportunity to enhance your reporting delivery and the value add that your projects can achieve using such powerful reporting as we've seen today. My name is Chris Y. I thank you very much for joining the call, and I look forward to talking to you on the next CostCast.